Akanbi. Eba mi ṣe kábíyèsí o. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed with the presence of great men and women of great humane cordiality. I've taken the time to recognize as many people as possible earlier, but permit me to welcome all our royal fathers who are here present. Let me start with by obeying protocol by welcoming His Excellency, who likes to be referred to as Mr. Governor of the Center of Excellence and State of Aquatic Splendor, the one we call Mr. Productivity, Mr. Sellable, Mr. Rhodes, but most importantly, COVID, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, and the head of service of the most vibrant civil service in Africa, Mr. Akim Muri Okola. They are both represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and Community Affairs, Mrs. Kikelomo Bolariwa. A round of applause for her, please. I'd like to welcome a woman's woman, a woman who needs no introduction, former president of the Lagos Chamber of Industry, two-time Minister of Industry of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, first female president of the Harvard Alumni Business Association, international consultant, Chief Mrs. Onikepo Akonde, ONCON. A round of applause for her, please. I'd like to welcome a woman referred to by her late husband as the masterpiece of God's creation. I'd like to welcome Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Flores Ajimobi, former First Lady of Oyo State, who is represented by another equally beautiful and indeed masterpiece of God, Honorable Folake Olunoyo Oshinowo. Can I have a round of applause for her, please? My big brother, the Aremo of the universe, Aremo Adeshegun Oniru. Can I have a round of applause for him? A pathfinder extraordinaire, a polyglot who is a pathfinder for what I do today, broadcaster par excellence, owner of that world-renowned brand, Uncle Prince Isi Ola-Zino. I'd like to welcome the chairman of this occasion. He's a man of great humane cordiality, a father and a million, someone who consistently shows that if you give Nigerians the opportunity, they will excel at what they do. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an engineer, what is called engineer, Larry Adewale. A round of applause for him, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our royal fathers are legion here today because it is a man that goes everywhere to celebrate people that is being celebrated. But let me welcome the man sitting next to him, who probably might have come the farthest. I'm talking about the Etsu Nupe. If your hands are not too busy, please join us and welcome Dr. Yahya Abubakar, CFR, Chairman, United States Council of Chiefs, Oba Musili Oriyomi Oshikeru, one representing the Akanbi of Remo, Oba Zakari Yao, Adilola Matenilola, Senator the 7th Oluwo of Owu. I want to welcome my Kabisi, the honorary of the sharing kingdom of Sulaiman Adekule Bangbade Kabisi. I want to welcome the representative of the revered Oba Iwoland II, the Oba of Benin, the Obasanjo of Benin, and the whole Osioba of Benin. Can I hear somebody say Oba Topahe? I'd like to welcome, ladies and gentlemen, His Royal Majesty Oba Olatubosun Aziz, the Akiri of Ikiri, Ile Kabiesi, the Oluwo of Oluwo, or His Royal Majesty Obarafio, Musobalaje, Kabiesio. Gentlemen, I'd like to stand on all existing protocols, our fathers, our mothers, as you have come here, God Almighty will go everywhere with you. Our right now, and we move at the speed of light as we have the opening prayer that will be said by a man doing great and mighty deeds for God Almighty. Sheikh Bakara Mogaji, can I have a round of applause for Sheikh Fasasi? Thank you very much as you lead us into the presence of God Almighty. Takbir. The Lord is good, and all the time. If God has been good to you this year, please let's give God a round of applause. I'm told that a good sheikh has gone to pray to God Almighty, so I will crave the indulgence of the Etsunobe to please do us the honor of leading us into the presence of God Almighty. Can I have a round of applause for God Almighty as we are praying for?
The mic is not working.
Yes, sir.
We are here this afternoon to celebrate our own, the King, the monarch of Egypt, AbdulRosheed, Adewale, Akanbi, TELU first, Oluwo, Iwoland, and Allah will be God is very wonderful. Among your people, among your domain, among your state, among your whole country, and Allah will be there. Allah will be to protect you. Allah will be to give you strength and wisdom by your affairs of all these domains. Very much Allah. All of us are here. We come here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to bless us, guide us through, and give us all that we need in life. Live and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
There are very few Muslims here this morning. Takbir. Praise the Lord. And for those who are traditionalists, Eriwo, I am who? Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd quickly like to welcome the Asiwaju of Ogun, Professor Adewale Williams. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Kabiyesi has told me not to keep you here longer than is necessary. He has told me that if I delay you by 1 hour, I shall pay 1 million per hour. So I promise you, I will not delay you. But let me quickly welcome my friend and brother, one of the finest strikers to have played the game of football, son of Lagos, proud son of Africa, the great Obagoro Obafemi Martins. Can I have a round of applause? It's because Obafe Tofiwale. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall be closing at the speed of light. It's a foregone conclusion that every human being that comes to the face of the earth must depart one day. But one thing that never departs are the good deeds we have left behind. Another thing that will never ever depart are the books and documents that we need. That is why, although I know that you do not clap for Kabiyesi, because where I come from, if you clap for Kabiyesi, you get beheaded. You just say Kabiyesi. But because Kabiyesi is an author today, don't clap for Kabiyesi, but clap for the author, because he has left something that will outlast generations yet unborn. Please, let's give Kabiyesi a round of applause. I'd like to apologize to all of us for starting early for next year's event. Because Kabiyesi is doing 7 this year, he will do 8, he will do 10, he will do 20 years on the throne of his father, he will do 30 years, he will do 40 years, and if God wills, he will do 70 years on the throne of his father. And what I love the most about Kabiyesi, I've never had the opportunity to tell him this, is every time you come to him and you say, Kabiyesi, he has a reply. He says, Kabiyesi or Oluwo. So, can we please give God a resounding round of applause for Kabiyesi? Books don't just appear miraculously. I have a book written that I'm still finding a publisher to help me publish about 4 years after. This is why it's of immense importance that we welcome and hear from our publisher, Honorable Barrister Femi Kendi of Akosa Publishers Limited. Can I have a round of applause for him as he gives his publisher's speech? A round of applause. Please do not stop clapping. Do not stop clapping. God bless you. God bless you.
Kabiyesi. First and foremost, I'm standing here alongside the chairman of Akosa Publishers Limited, Elder Dr. Akanbi, who is also here. Please, can you stand up for recognition? Elder Dr. Akanbi. He is the chairman of Akosa Publishers. I'm also the director of Akosa Publishers Limited. We thank God that we are both also natives of Iwoland, and we are happy to be here today. I want to most profoundly, after our Kabiyesi, recognize and thank most tremendously the Esunupe, all the way from Ida, came with represent the Oluwo people. Please, a round of applause for him. Linguistically and culturally, the Oluwo and Yorubas, like Akanbi said, we are one and the same people. And he has demonstrated that today by honoring the great monarch of Iwoland. Etu, your days belong. Oluwo is the retired general in the Nigerian Army. He retired in 2003 and was elevated almost immediately to the exalted stool of the Oluwo of the entire Oluwo worldwide in 2003, succeeding his great uncle, Etu Undayame. We have a lot to share with the Oluwo people, and that is why Etu is very homely to be with us today. I want to just have a short speech, which will feel like a lady's miniskirt, not too long and not too short. Histories are made through the written narrations of people who are conscious of the environment and are watchful of his divine will. More often than not, men of authority and position are usually well equipped to choreograph history as they see it, as their contribution to learning, knowledge, and history. Bishop Ajayi Crowther perhaps brought Yoruba history to our doorsteps by giving us the Yoruba Bible as a beautiful translation of the English Bible according to his perspective. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was a Nigerian linguist and clergyman. It is the foundational procedure of our present predicaments or benefits we enjoy today. Everyone participates daily in the making of history, either negatively or positively. The technology-driven audiovisuality of events has not only decimated the reading culture among the young, like Ikeja just said, if you want to hide something from a black man, please put it inside the book. I want to agree totally with him. It has reduced the attention span of many of our youths. They, unless compelled by academic pursuits, find it boring to read large volumes of the history of their environments. Oluwo has contributed immensely to encourage our reading culture. Oluwo, in this epic book, talks about his destined journey in life. How he had a voice in Canada 3 days before the exit of the last monarch. Please, say, go home. You are the next Oluwo. He looked around, he did not see a voice, and asked people around him, did you hear something? They said they didn't hear anything. And on the third day, the late Adewale died. He had to come home, having sojourned out of the shores of this country for so many decades, without knowing anybody. But he believed the voice was a destined voice. And if you look at the story of his life, how he was kidnapped at a young age, how the country, so this kidnapping issue is not new. how he was rescued by somebody that saw him and took him back to his parents in England. And so many other things that shows that the Almighty Lord has early prepared him for this destined journey. The young Oluwo, inadvertently or advertently, also fought in the Liberian War. He was caught in the Liberian warfare, and he was part of the Liberian struggle. He fought on the side of the opposition. He was known as Major Wallet in the Liberian War. By dint of luck, he survived several bullets, onslaughts on him and his senior brother. Perhaps the Almighty Lord has destined that this man would one day be the Oluwo of Iwo. His grandfather had wanted to relocate from Iwo to Iwoland, but the seer told him, "You cannot leave Iwo because your grandson, one of your grandchildren, will become the Oluwo of Iwo. His life is a destined journey." These are mere appetizers that you will see in this book. The book reviewer, who is a scholar, a linguist, a thespian, Mrs. Adewale, will give you a better expose on the life of this great man who is destined to be great and whom the Almighty Lord has blessed sufficiently in his last 7 years. He's a human being. He's a human being, and human beings, naturally we have our frailties, our foibles, our fumbles. But human beings, our essence is the value added. This, our monarch, has really added value to Iwoland, to Osun State, to Nigeria. He has encouraged Igbo elites to come home, establish industries. And a great example of that is the chairman of this occasion, Engineer Adewale, who has really uplifted the Igbo essence by founding the Adewale College, a golf course, hotels, stadia, and so many others within Iwoland area. It is to the encouragement of the Oluwo. That is the Almighty God bless you. The chairman of Apples and Publishers, my brother, also about 10 years ago has established a farm, Oluwo Farms, in the whole territory. And it's an example that people should come home. Please come and see us in Iwoland. We are doing great. We are doing great. And through the encouragement of this young man, who is our father, and who, in so many years, will continue to be our father. Long live Iwoland. Long live the Oluwo of Iwo. Long live the Esumupe who traveled all the way from Bida. Long live the Inupe people, our brothers, who have demonstrated God. And long live the Kabiyesi's who are here today. Long live our mother, the mother of Ibadan, the wife of a great Ibadan man, and the former minister, Chief Mrs. Akanbi. She's been here for a very long time. Long live those people that found it worthy to come here to be part of these God's creation. Thank you very much. God bless you. Patronize this book. Patronize across our publishers, and you will see the value, the content of what we have done, what we can do, and what we also do as our own contribution to humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There's no better way to reward you from Nubi Kingdom than for the Insulupe to arrange for you to marry a virgin in their place. You have spoken so glowingly of that kingdom that I feel like following the Insuho. I'd like to welcome Alailua Oba Afis Olakunle Badero, a legible of Langbasa Kingdom, and I'd like to welcome welcome my own Kabiyesi. The last time I saw Kabiyesi, he gave me 3 hectares of land in Ogombo Kingdom. I'd like to welcome Udufu at the first, Dugudu, Oshabi of Ogombo land, Alayewa, Abiodun, Muslim, Okubo, Kabiyesi, Kadepelori. Ṣé wọn ti fún orí ilẹ̀ bí Kabiyesi? Ẹ má jọ kó Kadepelori kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀. I'd like to welcome people who have come from Bowen University. I'd recognized them earlier. And from Oba, our universities, OAU. Anybody from OAU here? A round of greatest. I know you will love that. And the Chancellor is here. But I also want to affirm, without any fear of contradiction, that there are only 2 universities in Nigeria. The only university that has a lagoon running into it, the only university that is sophisticated, the only university in the world with the finest Senate building. I'm talking about the great University of Lagos. Great Akokites. Greatest Akokites. Greatest of the greatest of the greatest Akokites. They will not agree, but after they go to all other universities, they come to Iwoland for their masters so we can brush them up. Let's give them a round of applause, I beg of you. Now, I'm going to be rushing at the speed of light, but there's something I love about Kabiyesi. Kabiyesi is a man that understands the essence of our culture and tradition. I love Kabiyesi when he appears, the way he dresses blows my mind. The way he dances drives me crazy. If every Oba had the presence of Kabiyesi, I will not wait for my turn. I will go back home and tell them, Imilokon. For 2 minutes, I want to show you how Kabiyesi does what he does. May you always have a reason to dance. And as Kabiyesi turns 7 on the throne of his forefathers, I'll ask Oluwo to please give me music for him for 2 minutes. To just thank God and know in confidence of his grace. Kabiyesi, please show them. Show them. For those who thought I was lying, now you have seen Kabiyesi in his elements. Every time I see Kabiyesi, I tell myself, if this monarch was a woman, he would have married me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we move on quickly now. It's just to give you a taste of what is to come after we finish the official part of this program. Oluwo, I saw his check, was paid 35 million for this event, and he has only paid 3,500 naira worth of it. You will be here. We will not let him go. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'd like to recognize and welcome the alongside engineer Adewale. Now we move to the book review. The book reviewer is currently at the department. The Department of Linguistics and Art. She has become one of those line of study. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, she has served and continues to serve. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to her credit are 9 audio Oriki albums between 2009 and 2020. Viewer, Dr. Adewale, who is also now a renowned and founder of Adewale Educational Organization. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Adewale will review the book.
Mo kí Olódùmarè, ọba àwọn ọba, aṣáájú ayé, ọba tí kò ní ìkejì, ọba tó fi ọba jẹ. Nítorí wípé ohun tí mo gbọ́ náà ni pé bàbá wa, ọba tí à ń yọ̀ fún lónìí, bàbá wa tí à ń yọ̀ fún tí gbogbo wa fi pé. Àwọn náà ni èèyàn tó fẹ́ràn Olódùmarè púpọ̀. Ahọ́n èdè tí a fi bí wọn ni mo fi kí gbogbo wa ní tẹ̀ṣọ́. Mo kí wa tológun. Mo kí wa ní mèrè àwòsí. Mo kí wa ní mèrè àwòsẹ̀. Mo kí wa ní ìwọ̀nràn. Mo kí wa ní ibi tí ojú wọn ti ń mọ́ wa ní ayé. Mo kí wa ní ìkí ẹ̀yẹ. Mo fi orúkọ bàbá wa, ọba aláṣẹ lórí àwọn òrìṣà, ọba AbdulRosheed Adewale Akanbi, TELU àkọ́kọ́, Oluwo ti Ìwó, ọba tí wọ́n mọ Olódùmarè púpọ̀ ni mo ṣe kí wa ní ìkí ẹ̀yẹ. Kábíyèsí o, ẹ bá mi ṣe kábíyèsí o. Wọ́n ní àti kí ọba ní orí ìjókòó, gbogbo wa jọ̀wọ́ ní ìṣẹ́jú kan. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi kí Olódùmarè nínú ayé bàbá wa, ìlú àkọ́kọ́. Ẹ bá mi ṣe kábíyèsí o. Fún Ọlọ́run ọ̀gá ògo, ẹ ṣe kábíyèsí o. Nínú ayé bàbá wa Olúwo, ẹ ṣe kábíyèsí. Olúwa kọ́ ilé ẹgbẹ́ kábíyèsí. Thank you very much. I feel highly honored to be here. Permit me to stand on an existing protocol because I have a lot to say, but it is very essential that you know that I am your daughter. I pay obeisance to all of you mothers and fathers here present, and in particular, I would like to extend the hand of love and fellowship to my own Pro-Chancellor, the Esinope. I took that essentially to say, welcome, sir, the Chancellor of my university. Yes, a couple of weeks ago, my Android cell phone rang with the name of a senior colleague scrolling through the 6 inches LCD screen. I eagerly pressed the button to answer the call, and what I saw was a previous discussion on an issue of interest, thinking he wanted to give me an update. But I was wrong. Instead of the senior colleague to tell me of an update on what we discussed earlier, he told me I will be reviewing a book on the traditional ruler authored by AbdulRosheed, Adewale, Akanbi, TELU, the Oluwo of Oluwo. He said he will follow up to update me. I said, when will this be? He said, January. All I remember saying in response was book review next year. I was actually thinking of my tight schedule. Besides, it was Xmas time and the New Year season, a period I naturally want to rest, but I was put aback when he said he will wire me the 359 pages material, a book I needed to review, and I got this wired just 2 weeks before now. I was curious. I said, the book reviewer, how do I go? Here I am. To be able to review a book, you must read it, you must understand and comprehend it, perhaps enjoy it, and you must have time to reflect on the content to be able to make valid observations. In view of that fact, I had a short notice. I had to reorganize myself, and I had to put down all other things to make sure that this is attended to. I enjoyed it reading the textbook on history and traditional rulership, which falls to a large extent within my area of specialization, but also because it discussed subject matter from a unique perspective. I was curious to read this book. This is the book. The unveiling will be done shortly. I have actually read in the past a couple of textbooks and literature, material history, the various ancient towns and who their rulers. Some of those books were written by renowned scholars, but others were authored by individuals who were actually not historians. Some are professional in their own rights, and the information we have to send are quite understandable. For instance, I stand to assert that some great educated authors of record and importance to me here is Timi, Obatimi, Adetoyeshe, the Admiral Keji, the Timede, the Awujale. Among others, have written scholarly works, documented their history, and a book of several information, with a mind to add to the voice of wisdom in print. Although the book Code of Kings is in the category of aforementioned textbooks, it is important to mention to you straight away that this book is in a class of its own. I will come back to this soon. However, when this book was mentioned to me, I was personally more than eager to read a book on Code of Kings. For many reasons personal to me. One, I wanted to know what AbdulRosheed, Adewale, Akanbi, TELU, the Oluwo of Oluwo has to say. I was curious to have the book wired to me, like I said. On the second note, the title of the book itself, Code of Kings, charged me to wanting to read what the author intends to pass across to the public. Pardon my tongue, gentlemen and ladies and respectable fine audience. More so than the author is a controversial personality in court to several people within the public domain of Nigeria and across the globe. Third reason, learning that for several icons, including a Leonard Silk, Chief Adewale San, Barrister Femi Kende, Ali Ibrahim, and Abdulrosheed, were the associate editors of the book that I was to review. So as soon as I got a soft copy wired to me, I eagerly tossed round the pages of the book. I became mesmerized, however, by the arrays of beautiful and engaging topics, neatly packaged in 20 chapters, with an epilogue ending in selected pictorials, showcasing few of the activities of the monarch, who doubles as the author and the father on the throne. After reading the 359 pages book, I feel very, very enlightened about the incumbent Oluwo's personage and faith, his position and disposition, and on various developmental achievements that the town Iwo has recorded to date. Distinguished Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, before anything, I'd like to especially congratulate the Cabinet of AbdulRosheed, Adewale, Akanbi, TELU, the Oluwo of Oluwo, on its decision not only to add to the existing knowledge and history on traditional rulership in Nigeria through print, but also to show its interest and passion on to develop its people and to document this masterpiece, Code of Kings. Notwithstanding its tight schedule as an Oba, Kabiyesi, Oba Lori Amorisha, I say a big kudos to you, Oba Gogo, Baba Gogo Awo, Baba Gogo Awa, Taji Omo Yoruba. Ọmọ Àtẹnigbọlá, ọmọ Àtẹnigbọrẹ, Kábíyèsí, kí Olódùmarè mú yín gùn lẹ́mìí fún àwùjọ àti ìran yìí. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ mi ni wípé kí ìran yìí àti ìran tó ń bọ̀ kárí yín pẹ́ bí ogun ti ṣàrọ̀ lágbẹ̀dẹ. At this, I was expecting a round of applause. At this point, I need to make a confession. Having gone through the book and having known the brains behind the masterpiece and the caliber of the audience that I will be facing today, the task given me became more of an Herculean task. I therefore consider myself Adeola Ikeja Faleye. A humble note that I am extremely very lucky to be picked to do a review on this great book. Let me give you a tip on the code. Quickly before I begin to unwrap the content of the book, let me say that my understanding of code as a separatician in practice and in the academics is that code simply means a set of laws, or simply put, conventional regulations practices of some people, a community, or of the kings. As in the case of the book you are about to unveil today. In other words, the code underscores a system of words, letters, symbols used to represent others, especially for the purpose of secrecy. I want to agree and I want to confirm to you. As I read through the book titled Code of Kings, I hurriedly came to a conclusion that AbdulRosheed TELU intends to explain to his readers some salient issues using Enna. We all know what Enna is if you belong in the Yoruba speaking sect. Secret terms associated to the kings, an emblem which Oluwo, the author of this book, carries, and an index which he shares as image. Therefore, the secrecy of the kings, as unknown to many people, but which are expected to be known by the monarchs and their subjects in particular, are the essence and the main things you are going to decipher or decode today. When a Yoruba person says, meaning my child comprehends the secrecy of expressions beyond ordinary whistles. The simple intention of the speaker is to tell you that he understands the nitty-gritty of such intention. Let me start from the cover of this book. I need to let you know that I was once an editor with the University Press, PLT Ibadan. I have worked there for 5 years before coming to academics. So I am going to review this book following 4 patterns. Cover to cover is one of the values UNESCO says we must also always check when reviewing a book. So I have done this review cover to cover. Pardon me. The second set is looking at the preliminary pages. Also, I have done chapter by chapter analysis of this work. I won't take much of your time, but please, kindly, let's traverse together. The cover and preliminary pages of this book, Code of Kings, the cover is a hard copy. The book gives an impressive and attractive appearance, salivating its readers with a yearning mind of grasping the content for the purpose of knowledge and enriching information to behold. The picture of Oluwo is boldly embossed on the front cover page, while the blurb at the cover page also informs and provides some basic information about the author. The quality of the print inside is something to behold. I give kudos to the publisher of this work. From the authorial point, the authorial title page, I observe the classic text is written by AbdulRosheed TELU Oluwo, the incumbent and the paramount ruler of the ancient city of Iwo Kingdom, Osun State, southern Nigeria. The publisher we all know now is Akosa Publishers, and the copyright to the book dated 2023. The copyright is of the author, which is our own father, Oluwo. Let me also inform you that the cover design is credited to PCI at Pixels. We can find this, all that I've said, from pages 1 to 4. The ISBN, that is the International Standard Book number, which is of the Nigerian product. It tells you that the book is of quality standard. The preliminary pages include the imprint page, the author title page, credit to the associate editors, dedication, acknowledgement, preface, and table of content. I have these all on pages 19 to 22 of the book. This is a standard form in which a book should be arranged and preliminary pages total 22 pages. The dedication page exists with special reference to the father of the author and the mother, Prince Oluwo Adeyemi Akanbi of blessed memory, and the mother, Mama Shakira Adeyemi Akanbi, pardon me. Their pictures are also provided on pages 337 through 338 of this book. Let me inform you, wonderful audience, that the preface provides some basic background information to the book, the sources of information and historians whose documentations are no doubt useful to the formation of the book production. This can be found on pages 13 through 18. It is a well-written text by Barrister Femi Kende, a legal luminary and one of the cerebral icons from the Oluwo, one of the sons of Oluwo, who is committed to the realization of the publication. The book layout, as I said, are the entire book pages numbered 359. We can check this out when we have our copies. I need a hand, please. The entire book pages, the layout of the book appears very good. At the beginning of each chapter is a display of a symbol of royalty. Every chapter which symbolically communicates who is committed to, symbolically communicates to one of the codes, which I think the author of this book wants to highlight. At this point, I must mention that this book is a publication with a replete with serious accounts of Iwo's towns and history, where proper chronological accounts, review of the earlier works by scholars, historians, and what I personally classify as reactions to hues and cries of the public about the personality and attitude issues, character, courage, and belief of faith of the incumbent Oluwo have been thoroughly discussed. In addition, in explanation and clarifications justifying the need for his persistent call for a paradigm shift to the new order on Yoruba cultural values and towards development of Iwo town, the Yoruba land, the kingship status in general, and the emphasis is all for a better outlook of the nation Nigeria. The book now, Code of Kings. Generally assessing this book, the author employs 20 chapters to communicate his mind to the readers. In each chapter, the author has a special message different from one to inform his reader. Each chapter speaks to each issue and uniquely. It delves into history of Iwo from conception to the current status, with the notion shared in the Yoruba popular saying, Ibi kan shala ti nbo. Ibi kan na alade yi. We actually started somewhere and we are definitely going somewhere, and we are somewhere now. I am just on chapter by chapter analysis. I will be fast. This is very crucial. The chapter 1 gave a chronological account of existing literature and the institutionalization of Iwo, and also tracing the link to Oduduwa, the progenitor of Yoruba, Iwo crown coming from Owodo royal lineage of Okerewe in Ile-Ife, and more insight to the 16th first beautiful female kings of Ife, Oluwo, Bagada. We can see this on page 24, who incidentally was the mother of Adewale, who founded the city of Iwo. I am going to be journeying and running to the final bit of my findings on each chapter because I've been given short time to go on this. But my work, the write-up, will be available for the press. I'd like to tell you that the book is engaging, and in that chapter 1, she was found to be the trainer of offenders who committed serious offenses. She made them to break into beads, engage them in derogating the path, and this could be found on page 25 to 26. The author in chapter 2 discusses the growth of Iwo and unconquered territory. The text informs that 4 main quarters have been provided by Pari, divided in his lifetime as the administrative locations in the war. These are Isaleoba, Molete, Gidigbo, Okeadan. The derivative sources of etymology of these names are all found and they are discussed. Mention is also made of the others who worked extensively creating this location. Various locations of settlement are equally mentioned in the book. In chapter 3 of this book, the author dedicates his time to talk on the establishment of the Oluwo chieftaincy and the place of Oluwo in the pre-colonial organization of Iwo. The concerns of the author is well articulated. We can find this on pages 53 to 76. Chapter 4 is dedicated to the era of transformation, colonial rule, and traditional rulership in the war. We can find discussions on pages 77 through 98. In this book, there are features relating to other communities like Ilaorogun, Oyo, Ijesha. Oluwo Mahmudu Lamuye's activities and achievements are highly highlighted. We can read this through pages 86 to 92 in chapter 5. Let me admit that the author of this book discussed extensively on religion and monarchical institutions in Yoruba land. The author, however, interrogates the authenticity of linking Iwo's crown to Obaloron's lineage in Ife. The author disagrees with the claim that we can find on page 108 through 109. The importance of Olodumare and the position of the Orishas are stressed in this chapter 2. Viewing and understanding the fact that Olodumare is supreme and no other Orisha should be found claiming the right with him. The author lay claims to the fact that he has been part of the rational changes required to writing the history of Iwo. In chapter 6, which we can find between the pages of 125 and 128. You can see I'm moving very fast. AbdulRosheed emphasizes the longevity, grace given to the first Oluwo, Arole Olumade Pari, who was the first king in Iwo. Also the account of Mahmudu and Lalamuye, who solidly promoted Islamic religion, spent longer years on the throne, and the relevance are all discussed in this chapter. In chapter 7, the author speaks to the throne, how the throne beckons. It's all found on pages 129 through 140. The author calls and recalls his life experience. I want to say that an account of his birth was on the 21st June 1967, a sojourn in the land of Canada, and back to the throne on the 21st June 2015. Let me take you back to chapter 8, a very short chapter indeed. It's all about the light into the right agenda of the author, which can be found on pages 143 through 144. Chapter 9 of the Code of Kings seems to be the symbolic chapter which the Kabiyesi, the author of this book, wants to highlight. What are these codes? We can find this on pages 145 through 158. The author discusses various rules, orders, and responsibilities which are sine qua non to a peaceful coexistence of any society. We can read this on pages 150 to 152. Corroborating his view, the Kabiyesi burst into a song. Kila ń fọ ọba pé ẹ bá ń gbé o, ọba láṣẹ ọba. Kila ń fọ ọba pé ẹ máa bá mi kọ́ nìṣó. We can find this, the morale, the charisma of Oluwo when he sings. He uses some of these songs to communicate his idea. A lot is said in that chapter 9, but I will leave this material that I have written to the press for a proper digestion because of my time. We can read also about the author's view, who opines that there is need to outshine the old legacies of Orisha. Even the Odudua legacies, who it compares with no other one. The author insists that there has not been any legacy like that of Odudua, but he charges us in this current age that we must live in the life in the context of time. After all, Oluwo emphasizes the need to create new inventions and reinventing new ideas which outsmart the old age-long tradition, such as creation of cars, airplanes, but new fashionable moderate dress code, conduct that improve and showcase neatness with the celebration of our festivals within our culture, and actions that are meaningful to modern age. We can read this up to 158 pages. In chapter 10, the author dedicates discussions on land, kings as the landowners. The popular saying that Oba Balori Ogbogo is one of the factors and values that the author employs to communicate to us in this chapter. The author feels that a natural Oba should always make his phone active and that no one should ignore the calls of his citizens. References are made to personal attributes and attributes of the author. In his voice, I like to read a caption. The author says, God is the overall ruler. I quote him. He says, I pick my calls. Therefore, encourages most of us all that we should continue to do this while we do not deprive our citizens. Note, I have a special note on this. My observation of this chapter is that some of the views already shared in the chapters 1, 2, 8, and 9 are also repeated in this chapter 10. However, maybe the emphasis is for us to pick something home. What corroborates my idea is that Ijotoba Kanilara probably the author repeatedly did this to highlight the significance of his idea. Chapter 11 is about generosity as a tool of the Obas to the society. We can read this on chapters, pages 167 through 167. In chapter 12, I am almost done. This chapter highlights the interest of the author in promoting homemade products. It tags the chapter promoter of local products. We can read through this on pages 177 through pages 199. Copious examples of the author's legacies are, however, shown in this chapter. We can see all over his paraphernalia of office, the type of crown he wears, his shoes, clothing. They are all only made. The author also mentioned that he has a committed act, continuous patronage of this ideology. He is selling this idea to the masses and to his readers. Let me read one of his expressions. He says, I measure my popularity through the ignorance of my enemies. Enemies pay my publicity fee. Enemies are one of the vehicles to greater heights. We can see this thought on pages 191 through 192. Chapter 13 is about the Oba as an instrument of cohesion, respect, and surprise. We can read this through on pages 193 through 200. The idea that the author advocates is for a living which does not discriminate between man, the subject, the Oba, and the rest of the community. The author frowns at various killings which can be found on page 200, and many of lives and properties which remain an eyesore and very disturbing or trending issue across the four corners of Nigeria. Oluwo, Akanbi, with all respect, intensifies the need for love and for one another as antidote to various mishaps in the nation. On chapter 14, the title Monarchs as Agent of Exposure. We can read this through pages. Please let me have the book. Can I have the book, please? We can read this through on pages 201 through 212. The author opines that the power of exposure is a freedom to access opportunities around the globe. A number of his empowerment stand as tests, and support for people for advancement academically are highlighted on pages 206 through 207. On chapter 15, Oluwo, the author of this book, vehemently discusses the essence why I crowned my wife. We can read this on pages 213 through 18. The only Oluwo, this is very important to hear. The only Oluwo refugee of the kingdom summarizes the essence of his actions. We can read this through page 214. The author corroborates his findings and quotes a researcher who also confirms the action of the author as a non-abnormal in the sublime of Oduduwa's image, whose love for his wife was at the peak, and this is what the author of this book has done by doing this. He has some interrogative measures, and one of the questions that this author has is, please ask somebody, and this is one of the reasons we have to research more. Chapter 16 talks about industrialization, a vehicle to economic growth. The author exemplifies his approach to achieving this task by encouraging his readers through a paper presentation he once made in London in 2019. We can read this through pages 222 to 234. In chapter 17, people's opinion, excerpts from Odidere's publications are all cited. In chapter 18, this is a unique chapter as it brings to the fore the various interrogative questions of journalists in Nigeria about the personage and the surprising attitude of Oluwo in the past days. Oluwo, the journalistic views, and these are selected, published through pages 259 through page 302. Chapter 19. This is a chapter, in my view, is to familiarize the readers with the numerous the traditional belief system of Yoruba people of divinities. And the author states categorically that the thoughts and the position of the author, we can read all through pages 303 to 303. Mention must be made as Oluwo, the author of this book, list. It mentions the Obatala, Oromila, Ella, Ogunṣowo, and the rest. Quoting the views of Molaji Oluwo, but the position of the author is that no God should be allowed to have a library. And the need to understand the greatness of God as superior to any other one is ever squared this. Now to the last chapter, in chapter 20. The final chapter is a publication which encourages the Olofia, the real title of the ground. We can read these three pages from pages 319 and 322. It is a very short chapter though. The message to the public is that he affirms that the source of the name Oni should be questioned. This is why the author affirms that the title of Olofia is ideal and not only because of the etymology of the name. The source and the meaning carries from the language of the origin. Promissory notes and words to continue discussion in this essence are cited on the book. I'd like at this point to welcome the thoughts and now at this point, the epilogue, which is the last bit of this publication that I am asked to review. Like I said, there is no good book without its own minuses. And as I have dealt with the 20 chapters, the epilogue, and the pages of Victoria Life, I'd like to at this point say that the author has relied on the history published by some people, and his own great ideas are added. The other minuses and pluses that I must please allow you to say, in addition to what you have been the cause of this write-up, in my observation, the author through this book presentation has successfully taught researchers and learners in so many ways. A full list of ancient place names in the world of God, like Ogaba, Kuta, Ileogo, are mentioned on pages 56 and 18 of the account of man. Isaleoba, Pindigo, Malete, Okeana, names of objects such as Oro and Oriolo. These names, like Owolo Okere, they are important names that should be thrown back because Yoruba language is tonal in nature. It is on this note, I have numerous words like that. Most of the Yoruba words in this publication are not tonal at all. This is one of the areas I feel that in subsequent reprints, there is need for this to be given attention. One, it remains unpardonable because Yoruba is a tonal language and it carries codes. And once we are talking about code as the title of the book, the tone remains very essential to be used. In the modern age of technological advancement, there are numerous ways of achieving this. I will therefore, on a final note, advise that in less than 2 years from now, the authors are coming to I wish this is given serious attention in subsequent reprints, as I am positive that this book deserves a better and wider spread to the end users within Nigeria and across the globe. Such is why I think there will be need to do a quick reprint after the launch today. I have delved on literature review. My conclusion now. No doubt, the useful material for this generation, for the yet unborn, and for the larger researchers out there. Following my observations and discussion, as stated above, I therefore challenge you all listeners to please ensure that we do not leave this hall without getting a copy of this book. In fact, I want to encourage us to have copies such that we can begin an aggressive advocacy. And I concur that this publication has challenged all of us for this need. For you and I to begin an advocacy for individual icons seated here, as found in Kabiyesi Oluwo, to begin to write, to show interest in the development of our communities, to be more involved in the development of the youth and the nation. In fact, I want to request that the more stakeholders here present, the local state government representatives, federal government here present, and to the Chancellor from Asolupe, with all respect, you are all indexes of this nation, the chief launcher. I want to please that we should have a mass adoption of this book into secondary school and tertiary institutions, such that it can serve as teaching aid to our students and to researchers for further analytical perspective. On this note, I want to say thank you for listening to me. Once again, kudos to you, Kabiyesi, Eku Iṣẹ́ Ọpọlọ, to the organizers of this event and the publisher. I remain very appreciative of your involving me in this exploit. To you, my wonderful listeners, journalists, who shall do justice to reporting my review, I say, may your wisdom and ink never run dry. Thank you.
I'd like to appreciate the book reviewer for a masterful review of the book, and also apologize to her for rushing her, but it's nothing lecturers have not done to me in the past. So it's a pleasure to do it back to you. Can I have a round of applause for her? God bless you. I'd like to welcome my father, my Kabiyesi, the Oshile Okionwe. I want to quickly welcome the Director General, Ajia Montai Tai Elemosho Kiso. The 55th tax expert from the boardroom to the palace, Oba Olufola. I'd like to welcome Dickiness of the Niger Pro-Chancellor, Chairman of the Governing Council of Cowen University. I remember you from the Civil Service Commission. Thank you for your service to our nation. And at this point, I'd like to quickly and most importantly recognize, after God Almighty, my favorite person here this afternoon is the representative of Mr. Sifax, Mr. Marriot, Mr. Finance, Mr. Chief Launcher. He is the Executive Director at Sifax Group, Captain I.P.A. Olubade, representing my big brother, Dr. Taiwo Afolabi, who anytime he sees me tells me there's no need for me to leave at home. I have free access to sleep here for as long as I want to sleep. but my wife does not seem to like it. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to do that which we have come here to do. I like national awards. I like, you know, my national award is the GCON, Grand Comedian of Nigeria, self-given. But there's one award that a man was invited for so many years ago. This man from the heart of Iwoland was invited by the then president to come to Abuja to collect the national award. When he got to Abuja, the MC kept saying, "You are doing a fantastic job. The country is proud of you. We love you." The man told them, "Nah, please hurry up. I have to go back." He said, "Well, the president has deemed him worthy to give you the national award of MON." The man looked left, looked right. He said MON. The man said yes. Where is the EY? What is MON without EY? We have gotten to the MONEY part of the program, and ordinarily I would have told the security men to lock all the doors, but for you to be here on a Monday morning, it shows what tremendous respect and regard you have for the Oluwo, and I ask you to please give yourselves a round of applause, because you will not need any prompting to do the task at hand. We'll be moving the books to the center. I'll be inviting the chairman of this occasion to please rise. I'll be inviting the chief launcher to please come with him. I'll be inviting the representative of my father, the Jajaban of the universe, Alhaji Bashir Imam Ibrahim, to please do us the honor of stepping forward. I'd like to invite a great son of Africa, a man I've described with no mean words, a man, a monarch that stands for peace, progress, and welfare, not just his people in Iwo. Is a monarch, ladies and gentlemen, that is after our hearts. I'd like to invite the representative of Mr. Governor of Lagos State. I'd like to invite the immediate past commissioner for works and transport of the state of Osun, who is representing His Excellency Boyega Oyetola, Engineer Remi Omowaye, to please join us. Please join us. God bless you. I'd like to invite, even though he's the chairman of the publishing house, he's also a great African, founder and group chairman of Mutual Assurance, Asiwaju Aki Ogunbiyi, to please join us. My mother, you know, there's a difference between mother and mother. My mother, Chief Mrs. Unikepo Akode. Can I have a round of applause for her? God bless you. The Pro-Chancellor of Bowen University should please also join us. God bless you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Professor Adebayo Williams, the Asiwaju of Chief Morgan, like we call it in the States where I grew up. A lot of Nigerians do not remember that I grew up in the States, in a place called Maryland. Lagos State, very close to Oluwo there. And now, the representative of Our Excellency, please let's circle the book. God bless you. The representative of Our Excellency, Dr. Chief Mrs. Florence Ajimobi, Honorable Oshinowo, wife of my big brother, Teddy Shine. I don't know if Aremo is still around. Aremo Adeshegun Oniru, please join us. Okay, I'm told he's left. Oh, I've seen his donation. Thank you. The chairman of Adewale local government in the gateway to industrialization and progress. But let me quickly welcome the Asoya of Ile Ife Kingdom, who is representing His Imperial Majesty Oni Babatunde Egeton Ogusi Ojaja II, to please, let's welcome him by saying Kabiyesi. Honorable Remy Babawale, please join us. And finally, for this first set, I'd like to invite our father, please, gentlemen of the camera, I crave your indulgence not to block our guests. I'd like to invite the Oluwo of Iwoland and the 8th Celebrity to please join us. And Chief Moses Adewale, please join us. While our fathers are on their way, I'd like to invite the representative of the Chief Launcher Chief Moses Adewale, Kabiyesi, has insisted that I invite you and are very confused. My brother, Obafemi Martins, please join us on stage. God bless you. God bless you. Kabiyesi, I always say that the people who Otumba Joseph, please can we have some more people on this side? God bless you. Representative of our Chief Launcher, I crave your indulgence. I know you have something to say, but it's very important for the sake of the press for us to unveil and have everybody hold up a copy. I don't know how long your speech is, but I pray it's very long, because the longer, the more money I collect from you, sir. God bless you. I'm not balanced. God bless you. Please, let's come closer. Let's come closer. Chief Launcher, sir, I need you right dead center, because you will help us open. You hold one up to unveil, and everybody will take a copy. You won't win with your support. We allow everybody say something, then I will invite you to give your speech, if that is okay. It's whatever you tell me to do now, I do, sir. Because if money tells me to jump, I only ask how high. Kabiyesi, with your kind permission, I ask that you please hold the helm. Emmanuel Michel. Chief Launcher, please hold the middle. Chairman, hold the other edge. Ashwaju, hold. As many people that can hold, please hold, and the Chief Lodger will determine how he wants us to unveil.
Thank you very much, Madam MC. Today is a very special day, and I'm the mention of everything from my chairman, Olabi. Of course, God Almighty on our side. Today is a special day, and the glory of God, we're going to launch this book. And before I go into that, I want to make a request. Whatever we have given, this figure that should be donated to this book. So I want to follow suit. We're opening launching this book, the glory of God, from the Tower of Babel, has asked you to get 10 copies for 10 million naira.
I need all of us to have a copy and to face the cameras, and we hold it up to the continuous prosperity of Iwo and Oluwo, our domains, and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Can I have a round of applause, please? God bless you. The Mogaji family, I'm told that you should be here at this point. I hate to keep you standing for too long. So let me start from the chairman, then I move this way until I allow all of you to sit down. Please, I apologize profusely.
On behalf of myself, my family, and my wife, we're taking 6 copies for 500.
God bless you, sir. As you announce, you can sit so that I don't disturb.
The next president,
Inshallah.
Inshallah, on behalf of the Nigeria, he asked me to represent him and to say that he had wished to be here in person, but for very understandable reasons, he is campaigning, as everybody is aware, he is in Sokoto today at this very Imperial moment. He also instructed that I should announce that he holds obviously over AbdulRosheed, Adewale, TELU, the Oluwo of Iwoland in the highest esteem. Thirdly, he said that I should announce that he will be launching the book, but that will be a very private message meant and intended only for the ears of the Oluwo, not of the general public. Having said so, I've now discharged my responsibilities. I'm now standing in for my humble self.
Of King's College.
Please, the publishers, I have a small assignment for you. Take note, 10 copies for the Library of King's College, Lagos. 10 copies each for the libraries of Adewale University, the University of Iwoland, the University of Lagos, and 10 copies for myself, my family, and my friends, making it a total of 50 copies of the book for a sum of 5 million naira. Thank you. So let me start from Osho, and I go all the way down. Good afternoon, everyone. As the son of the soil, on behalf of myself and my company, Basco Group of Company, I'm paying the sum of 5 million naira to get more purpose. On behalf of myself and my family and Summit University of Ofa, I'm pleased to launch this book for the sum of 2 million naira. 5 copies. 5 copies.
Your Excellencies, Imperial Majesty of Iwoland, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to buy 5 copies, and I will whisper the amount for the copies to the publisher.
Who is retired? Good line.
We appreciate Imperial Majesty, the Oluwo for the great support in our institution, Oluwo University. I must say they really love to enjoy this. Thank you so much.
Who is writing?
For X, Y, Z amount.
I stand on the simple protocol. I want to especially recognize the people of Oluwo and the Honorable President, the representative of the Honorable President. On behalf of His Excellency, Ikeja, the governor that is on sabbatical, is coming back soon. We are also launching this for an amount I will not want to mention. I would also say XYZ in Naira. I will also be launching in my personal capacity as one of the Oluwo's boys. And I will also not want to mention, but it's also extra why we read in Naira. Thank you so much.
By the powers provided in me by Almighty God, as MC of this event, we hereby declare XYZ null and void. Mr. Governor, sir.
Yes, please. Because you have declared that XYZ launching of your book. On the launching of your book, he has also asked that he's very proud to be associated with it, and that he's also launching privately. He said his time donation into your ears. On the other side, the head of service has asked that I congratulate you very heartily on this occasion. He's very delighted, particularly because history has just been introduced into schools, and this work will be reference material in schools around the state and indeed in the whole country. So he has also asked that he would like to launch the private amount of money that he has asked me to whisper into your ears. Thank you very much.
I hereby also declare null and void to be whispered, to be announced, and or not
Private amount.
Alex Moises. They are hereby declared bandits at this event.
Ọba tí èèyàn ti dúró tì ní bàbá ní kọ́nà ọba ọmọ àmọ́ àjọyọ̀ lọ́pàá. Ìfẹ́ sọ ní èyí sọ ìdílé. Ẹjọ́ bá ronú bí nǹkan ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó sì sọ jáde ẹ̀yẹ jáde. Nígbà tí wọ́n forúkọ bàbá wa Odùduwà, bàbá ní Odùduwà. Tẹ́ ẹ bá wò ó, èyí ọ̀ máa rò pé ọ̀rọ̀ ni. Ṣùgbọ́n tí wọ́n á lọ bọ́, bàbá wa sọ ní pé Ọlọ́run là gbẹ́kẹ̀lé. Àwọn èsè gbákejì àwọn ni ọba lórí òrìṣà ní ìpínlẹ̀ o. Ẹ wà ní pé tí ọpọlọ èdè ọba pé dáadáa, àwọn kan sì ṣàbò, wọ́n ń sọ ya, wọ́n ń sọ lòdò. Bàbá wa sọ pé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yé ìdáyé kékeré tó wọ́n jọ lọ. Ọpọlọ wọn máa lọ sí ilé àwọn èsè gbákejì òrìṣà aláṣẹ lórí òrìṣà làwọn. Ọlọ́run sì lè kúlé wà láwù ahad aláwù sọ́mà làmúyáàdì wọlé lórí wọlé yẹkùn láwù wọlé hàd. Nítorí àlè máa tẹ̀lé bàbá náà Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́ ẹ̀sìn sí o. Èyí tẹ́ ẹ ṣe Ọlọ́run sì ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Àwa náà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹnì kan ló kọ bàbá wa ṣé AbdulRosheed dispensa sí mágàjì ọba àti ló kọ gbogbo ọmọ ilẹ̀ Ìwó lápapọ̀ tá a bá bàbá wa wá. Àwa náà á wà sí ní bí ọgbọ́n wo ewu ṣe máa ní níbi ojú. Àwa náà wà sí ní méjì báyìí ẹ̀dùnkù Ọlọ́run.
Oluwo lè pa orí fún wa. I now move to our chairman, and a man that history will favor.
I want to congratulate my papa, the Oluwo of Iwoland, for this singular occasion. You have impressed me personally in so many ways. And occasion, you know, we are publisher. And a lot has been given already. But notwithstanding, at this particular occasion, I want to identify fully with you, and I will read copies of the book. But I want the publisher, please. I 5 million naira.
Allah Akbar. Kabiyesi has told me that I am in trouble. But I have to announce that we are doing this in trenches. It's not like we have elected anybody out. Next, I will invite all our royal fathers to come and join their brother on stage. But who have I not come to?
Life balance.
I hope someone 5 million naira. I mean, give him how many copies he wants, don't worry. Imperial Majesty, Apollos II, Rivers, Megwan, God bless you. 5 million naira. God bless you. Thank you very much. I'm Chief Majesty. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd now like to invite all our royal fathers that are here. October 46, the representative of the Oba of Benin, the October 46, please join us, my fathers, my lords, spiritual and temporal, please join us. October 1 is Saranda, please join us. Ashiwaju Wale Saranda, please join us. Alhaji Aziz Alaba, please join us. October Sheikh Dada, please join us. Alhaji Abdulrahman Salam, your logo should please join us. Lambasa, my father, the Alara of Ilara, Olofi Ogo Isheri, should please join their brother Oluwo of Oluwo. Thank you very much, Obago. Obago has said that Kabiyesi William back down. I want to invite my father. I'd like to welcome the King of Element Kingdom, River State, Apollos II.
Yes, Baba, yes.
As in the great administrators, Emperor Apollos II, welcome. All the way from Rivers, he has brought something very heavy. God bless you. Your kingdom will never know shame. My fathers, the Kabiyesi's, I'm still waiting for you. Thank you very much. I will never disrespect you. You know that. Represented by Uche. Praise God, and the grace of God. God will answer your prayers. Prince Adewale Solomon, Kabiyesi, tọwọ́tọwọ́ ni o, ẹ̀fọ́ríjì ni o, Chief Eddie, ẹ̀fọ́ríjì ni o, we'll be done with Kabiyesi and I'll invite more people. Ẹ̀fọ́ríjì ni o. I will not ask Kabiyesi to announce. We shall give them the account details and they will support their brothers how he deems it. But this is just for photograph purpose. This is just for photograph purpose. I dare not tell my fathers to announce. Can I have the cards that have the account details? Those who are not Kabiyesi should not go. After Kabiyesi, then I will take you. Don't worry. I mean you this afternoon. Am I worried? The Ojora of the Jora Kingdom. The white countries, God bless you. Absolutely, you enjoy the learning. Would you love to Let me have our real fathers first. After 3, I want all of us to go Kabiyesi. 1, 2, 3. Ọba Àtọ́fáyé. Photographers, are you okay? Are you okay? Thank you very much. Your Royal Majesty, your Imperial Majesty. Thank you. Thank you. Royal Majesty. I want to be anonymous. I don't want to do my position. Thank you very much. The ushers to hold on to much. God bless you. The representative of Wale Abodere. I'm going to ask so what I will do so that we don't turn it to a fish market is I'm going to ask the ushers to go around. Representative of Wale Abodere, can we have you? I'm going to ask the ushers to go around with the account details. Yes, there's POS. If you're interested in using the POS, the man with the POS, please, can you put your hand up so that people can see you? The man with the POS. Thank you. Mr. Eko, can we have you? Mr. Adewale, the ushers will go around now with their account details. You have space at the back of the cards to write your contribution. I'll leave you in the hands. I'll leave you of Tolu Obi Koshi.